Will is not suggesting that you do this diet right now. He's saying, this is how I lost the weight. Will has learned a tremendous deal of information since way back when he went on this diet. And so just because he's sharing how he lost the weight does not mean he's suggesting that all of you go and try this diet at home. Coach Greg, and in today's video, we're going over exactly how Will Tennyson went from being obese to 8% body fat. And I've already watched the video, and let me tell you, please do not copy his diet. He did not know what he's doing. He did mostly everything wrong, other than the fact he was in a calorie deficit. And so please don't copy it. We're going to point out his mistakes and hope to God he doesn't diet this way ever again.
When I had sweets, my stomach would get a pump. Even Coach Greg said, your back is ready for a show. And hopefully he meant bodybuilding.
Clearly, and so it did work. He got to 8% body fat, looked incredible. But notice, he wasn't able to maintain it. And the level of suffering and what he had to do to get this, well, 99% of the population not going to be able to do it.
As soon as I woke up, the grind to burn calories began. First with my right hand and then with my legs as I go for the same morning walk for coffee every single day.
And so as soon as he wakes up, he does empty stomach cardio in walking to Tim Hortons to get a coffee. And he does this twice a day, 6,400 steps times 2, already over 12,000 steps. Now, is there anything inherently wrong with doing fasted cardio first thing in the morning? Well, no, not really, but it does in fact depend. If he had gotten up and had protein first thing in the morning, that is his first opportunity for muscle protein synthesis to occur. And last I checked, when you're dieting down, you're not trying to also lose muscle. And so if your goal is to maximize muscle hypertrophy while in a calorie deficit, you don't want to do fasted cardio. And in case you're wondering, it's a myth that fasted cardio burns more fat than fed cardio. You cannot break the laws of thermodynamics, and walking to Tim Hortons, well, that is not an exception to the rule. And so Will says on average he did 17,500 steps. That's a lot. It's almost as much as Brandon Carter suggests doing. And so for the average person walking 2,000, perhaps 2,300 steps, that means he's walking close to 8 miles. And at his current body weight, probably burning off about 900 calories through walking alone. And so in order to lose a lot of weight, clearly you have to be in a calorie deficit. And so these added steps, walking twice a day for that great a distance, well, that most certainly is helping him to lose weight.
My typical order was a grande pike with no room for dairy. The only thing this coffee has room for is me, once it cools down.
And do you have a special latte, a crappuccino of sorts? No, plain black coffee, about 5 calories. And so considering he's going for a walk, both directions, burn off all these calories, drinking coffee, which also going to blunt his hunger and increase his metabolism, it's no wonder he was losing weight.
Caffeine keeps you full, and when you're trying to stay lean, being full and not hungry is absolutely key.
Absolutely. When you're dieting, being full, it keeps you from overeating. If you're not full, starving all the time, you're not going to stick to your diet. And remember, if you're looking for low-calorie, high-volume meals to keep you full, as Will Tennyson suggests, please consider getting my cookbook. It has amazing high-fiber, high-volume meals for the big eater, and they taste absolutely amazing. You don't need to eat chicken, broccoli, and rice. You get to eat the foods that you want. Please consider my cookbook.
If I was ever to try to get this lean again, I would definitely be intermittent fasting.
And considering Will Tennyson has asked me to coach him for a bodybuilding show next year, he's not going to be intermittent fasting. That is not how you diet. You will, for certain, lose muscle. And the last thing we want, especially as a natural bodybuilder, is losing muscle. Now listen, if you're on PDs, perhaps you can get away with not eating protein. But if you get up, do fasted cardio, you don't eat any protein, you go to the gym, lift weights, you're not going to build as much muscle. I'm sorry. I'm just telling you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. You want to hear, well, calories in, calories out. Well, that's all that matters to lose weight. Well, that doesn't apply to building muscle. You can't just have 1 meal a day of everything you want and think you're going to build as much muscle as if you eat 3 to 5 meals a day. You have 5 opportunities for muscle protein synthesis to occur. And if you only eat once, twice, maybe even 3 times a day, you're not going to build as much muscle as if you spread out your meals and take advantage of the anabolic effect of eating protein.
My workouts now compared to back in the day are very different. So back in the day, I was doing full body workouts 3 days a week, pretty low in volume. So I found one of my workouts in my training log.
And lo and behold, he was doing full body workouts 3 times a week. That is exactly what I'm doing. But my goal right now is just to maintain the muscle I have and improve my cardio. And so if your goal is to lose weight, you don't need to lift weights 6-7 days a week. That's not needed. You train each muscle group 2, maybe 3 times a week, and you don't need to do more.
So I was doing things like 7 sets of 3. That was my favorite rep scheme. I know it doesn't sound ideal for hypertrophy, but there's many studies showing that 7 sets of 3 produces as much gains as 3 sets of 10.
And so Will points out that lifting super heavy weights for more sets can build just as much muscle as doing fewer sets for high reps. But listen, you don't want to get injured. When you're lifting heavy weights, in particular when you're on a diet, you're far more likely to get hurt. And if you're doing sets of 3, that is ego lifting. Yeah, I get it, it's fun. You lift very heavy weights. It's more enjoyable than perhaps doing a set of 12 to 15, where you're getting that lactic acid burn. But if you're always training your anaerobic alactic energy system, never doing the anaerobic lactic energy system, you're missing out on so many benefits. You're not doing time under tension, you're gonna ego lift, less mind-muscle connection. And so please, leave your egos at the door. We saw Chris injuring his quad, warned these guys, don't lift so heavy, but what do I know? I'm 47 years of age, but listen, I have experience, I've been there, done that, I know what I'm talking about, and I caution you, don't do multiple sets of low reps if you don't want to get hurt.
The deadlift row, you're pretty much starting on the floor every single rep. I never really went to 8 reps. The only time I ever passed 8 reps is when I dreamed I was Johnny Sins. But everything was very, very low rep, very, very high set.
And so he never lifted high reps, never anything over 8 on other exercises, but that's simply not the way to lift. Yeah, it is if you're a power lifter, but how many power lifters you know haven't been injured?
Time to break the fast, y'all. So I did this thing that I like to call macro fasting, where I stuck to protein during the day and I saved all of my carbs and fat for at nighttime.
And so following his workout, he finally decides to eat for the first time. And although there's no such thing as an anabolic window, if you do choose to fast, if you do choose to train this way, it's very important to eat protein ASAP. Your body, muscles are craving nutrients. In order to build muscle, you need 3 things. You need energy from food and or stored body fat. You need water and you need protein. And so if you're not giving your body the macronutrients it needs, how could it possibly build muscle? And so he ends his fast with an egg white frittata, low calories, high protein, and he's doing what he refers to as macro fasting. He basically starves himself all day, just eating protein, and saves the majority of his calories for at night. Not a fan of this. Not a fan.
This is 280 calories, 62 grams of protein, 8 grams of carbs, and 0 grams of fat.
And so the egg white frittata, counting the vegetables, the egg whites, perhaps around 300 calories. It's not enough. At this point, your muscles are starving for glycogen. And so if you train and eat in this way, you are most certainly not maximizing muscle hypertrophy.
So in the meantime, I thought I'd show you what I would have as a snack. I didn't snack all the time, but sometimes I was a little ravenous rascal.
And then later in the afternoon, if he was starving out of his mind, couldn't control his urges, he would have some very low calorie jello, perhaps 1 rice cake, or a pack of gum. Anything to keep his mind off eating. A better choice in case you're following a diet like this, a Sequel bar. 220 calories, 20 grams of protein, 15 grams of fiber. And that's 15 grams of quality fiber. There's also 8 grams of fiber, which doesn't count anymore, but there's 15 grams of quality fiber in each and every bar. This makes the bar much slower to digest. It stays with you longer and will reduce your desire to eat. And remember, if you're really hungry, I suggest you eat. I don't think you should starve yourself and wait to binge at night. But what happens is when you don't give the body the nutrients it needs, ghrelin, the hunger hormone, goes up. It goes up. And when you finally do cave and you do eat, your body, it's going to want to binge and it's going to be very difficult to stop. And this is often how binge eating disorders develop. You starve yourself all day, you save up your calories for at night, and you go crazy.
By this time, I was also having coffee number 2. At this point, my heart was beating so hard, I was bruising my ribs, but all to get lean, right?
He's also consuming his second cup of coffee. It's going to fill up the stomach, and the caffeine is an appetite suppressant, going to help him to feel full and curb his appetite. And another thing I should point out is Will is not suggesting that you do this diet right now. He's saying, this is how I lost the weight. Will has learned a tremendous deal of information since way back when he went on this diet. And so just because he's sharing how he lost the weight does not mean he's suggesting that all of you go and try this diet at home.
For some reason, I like to put mustard on my eggs along with my Frank's Red Hot.
And so honestly, the egg white frittata, that breakfast, that looked amazing. My only suggestion would be, why not just wake up and eat it when you first woke up? Or perhaps at least when you got back from that walk with your coffee. You consume this meal, get in some protein, decrease your hunger, and then you can go to the gym. There's no reason to think you can't eat this for breakfast, that for some reason it's going to be better if I only eat it and push it off as long as possible.
Workout number 2 of the day. I would actually take my Apple Watch off because I didn't want the workout from Orange Theory to factor in with my steps from day-to-day life.
And so up next, workout number 2. And so notice he's doing 2-a-day workouts, this time Orange Theory. Perhaps he's riding a bike, burning a ton of calories. He takes off his watch as he doesn't want to count these steps towards his daily goal.
I was fully immersed in the Orange Theory cult. I was doing it 6 to 7 days a week, burning 650 to 900 calories per session.
And so he's burning 650 to 900 calories 6 to 7 days a week on top of his lifting. And remember, he's also doing 17,500 steps on top of this. He didn't wear his watch during this workout as he didn't want to confuse the neat, non-exercise activity thermogenesis with his physical activity done during his intense workout. And so if you factor in the 17,500 steps, his Orange Theory workouts, and lifting weights, he's burning close to 2,000 calories a day through movement. And that's on top of his BMR, which is probably close to 2,000 calories. And so a daily calorie burn of 4,000 calories. And so no wonder he got shredded. Think of it. He would need approximately 4,000 calories a day just to maintain his weight. And so if he were to eat 3,000 calories a day, that would be a 1,000 calorie daily deficit. That would equate to 2 pounds of fat loss each and every week.
But we have a can of tuna for the protein, we have an apple for the macros, and then what I'm gonna do is do something that no bodybuilder has ever done before, and I'm gonna eat some mayonnaise.
And so following his post-workout meal, he's gonna have a can of tuna, 100 calories of mayo, and he's gonna put that in a wrap. And listen, you may be thinking, well, why would you add that mayo? The guy needs to consume some fat. You can't simply eat no fat. A lot of people are trying to have less fat in their diet, but you can't have none. You do need to have some quality fats. Now, mayonnaise, probably not the best source. Obviously, be healthier to have, for example, something like avocado or salmon or nuts, but it's better than nothing now, isn't it? And so his total calories for the day, it's about supper time. He's at 700. That's hardly any, less than a bikini competitor. He's out bowling, which burns even more calories. That's added to his NEAT. And he's surrounded by food, and he'd love to eat it, but he can't. This, to me, this is not a sustainable diet. This is not a diet I would suggest to anyone.
We are now making the big meal of the day, which my family called the vat. And the reason they called it the vat was because it was so big you think I was a good kid going to the soup kitchen, but no, it was all for me.
Not what I'd suggest. Much rather see him spread out his meals into 3 to 5 meals a day. And based on his activity and having 2-a-day workouts and all that walking, 5 meals a day, that is what I'd suggest. That would be optimal for muscle protein synthesis, which is how you're going to build muscle, and would allow him to eat in a deficit. He wouldn't be starving all day. He could eat meals, be full, perhaps from my cookbook. You know he could do that. You could eat low-calorie, delicious meals all day long, be full, satisfied, and not feel like you're missing out on life, having to starve yourself until supper.
This entire thing was 1,650 calories. To put in perspective, my dinners now are like 900 on the high side.
And so his massive meal, a full pound of ground turkey, can of tomatoes, vegetables, a cup of oatmeal, and some cheese. 1,650 calories in one meal. And remember, he's only had 700 throughout the entire day. And so it stands to reason to me, why not take out, say, 650 of those calories and eat it earlier in the day? You still got a 1,000-calorie meal. That's still a lot of food.
So I'll continue to return for more bowls until I've tasted the bottom. If you're not like this after the vat, You did it wrong.
And so he's laying on the ground, full stomach, in pain, sweating profusely, and that is how you're supposed to feel. If you don't feel like this, you did it wrong. And so, well, if you want to lose this way, well, be my guest. But I personally don't think this is the way. Why not eat a more balanced diet, spread out your meals, lose weight slowly, and keep it off for the rest of your life?
As the day came to an end, I'd usually go for another walk, though the VAT had me tempted to roll instead. After that, I'd stop by a convenience store for a treat to fit in the remaining 300 to 400 calories.
And up next, another walk, go to the store and buy a treat. He gets another 300 to 400 calories, and so he's gonna have some kind of ice cream bar. Yay. If you hire me for coaching, get my diets, every single diet has optional snacks every single day. You get to eat whatever you want up to a certain amount of calories. And sure, it could be a Sequel bar, but it could also be an ice cream bar, a chocolate bar, whatever you want. A diet doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be better than it currently is. The best diet is the one that you can stick to for the rest of your life. Is Will continuing to eat like this? Ask him. Clearly not. And so although it worked, of course it worked. Will has extreme willpower. Better than 99% of the population. The guy's an animal. He can do whatever he puts his mind to. But if you're a normal human being, I strongly suggest you get my cookbook. And if you want to learn about how to lose weight and keep it off, I've written a book. It's called The Circle Diet. It might take you 6 hours. If you read this book, you'll know more than 99% of influencers. Everything you need to know about how to lose weight, keep it off for the rest of your life, it's in this book. It's my life's work. I was a school teacher. You will understand this information. You can apply it today.
I've been there, I've done that, it's not that fun. So I'm wrapping it up here. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to drop it a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
And total calories for the day, about 2,700, but he was burning off about 4,000. That's a 1,300 calorie deficit. How much do I recommend? Probably around 250 to 500. Much more sustainable. You start going into 1,000 calorie deficit or more, sure, you're gonna lose weight faster, 2 more pounds a week. But you're also likely going to lose muscle, you're going to be hangry, and how long will you be able to sustain this diet? 95% of diets fail, and if you want to maximize your chances of success, well, hire me, Coach Greg, and my team will help you with the best diet possible. Can't afford it? You know what to do. Get my freaking cookbook, also the Circle Diet book. Can't be beat. Combine that with 150 minutes of cardio a week and my Seco bar to help you keep full on only 220 calories, as well as my HGLT supplements, so many protein powders, pre-workout, creatine, beta-alanine, G-Shred, G-Focus. Geez, I might have a G-Wagon on there. Also, G-Test, 3-Test, Ashwagandha, Tom Catalee.
Ali's favorite.
That's right. Click the link in the description. Visit hgltsubs.com. Use code Greg. You get 10% off right now. Do it now. Subscribe. Click the bell button. That's right. Do it now. Subscribe. Have you done it? Subscribe. Click the bell button. Comment for the algorithm. Watch these 2 loops. And until next time, I am out.